having a balanced budget is important because it's the projection of how we're going to spend, how we're going to have our revenues in for the coming year, and it lets the taxpayers and citizens know that we're going to be responsible with their money. Yeah, the budget committee meets year round, which is a process started 2 years ago, and it makes sure that we're keeping an eye on expenditures, revenues throughout the year, and also looking at those longer range plans of our capital expenditures, how we can plan for the future. And it brings new eyes in from outside council members or from department heads, and it lets them get a fresh look into our budget process. And we're doing very well financially. We've had a surplus the past 3 years, and we're looking at utilizing some of those surpluses to make some much needed investments in our city. I've seen a lot of improvements in the budget process the last 2 years. I think part of that is more of a year-round process and look at it, bringing the budget committee in, and then having more time for our council members to view it, having those work sessions this year for them to ask questions. So we're not having marathon meetings, and then I think getting our department heads more involved in their own budgets, and so that they can look at projections, they can look at how they're spending, and then they can know exactly what their budget is, and they take ownership of that. And I think we've seen that really transgress and have them watch their budget. So I think a lot of that is our surplus is due to them watching their budgets because they're taking ownership of that. Our department heads are critical. They make sure that if they're watching their budgets and they're taking ownership of it, then you see that ripple effect throughout the city. They're the ones that are doing the work. They have their employees in their departments, and so having them in the process, having them understand the process and take ownership of it, you see that positive impact throughout our organization. That's important. We want to make sure that we're providing services, we're making those investments without increasing our debt. We have some very tight years when it comes to debt service. Our debt service is around $12 million, so our payment is around $12 million a year until 2024. And then we'll see that drop in half, which will free up the opportunity for us to make even better investments in our city, provided that we don't take on any new debt. By not taking on new debt, then we put ourselves in a much better financial position in the next couple of years to make those large investments. COVID has made it unpredictable. For last year's budget, for this current year that we're finishing out, we projected anywhere from 10% reduction in revenue in our sales tax revenue, now seeing an 8% increase from the year before, and so it just creates that unpredictability. And then going forward for this year's budget, there's still some uncertainty because this past year we've seen stimulus payments, a lot of Improvement Act and things, a lot of money coming in from the federal government, and unemployment benefits. At some point that will run out. Those stimulus payments will stop. The enhanced unemployment benefits will stop. And so, we don't know how that affects the buying power, if it does or if it doesn't, or if it flattens out. And so we'll have to go into another year of uncertainty and just plan the best that we can. Our budget process is very open. Our budget committee meets once a month, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing every dollar that we take in to the best of our ability, be efficient, transparent, and accountable in everything that we do.